Oh. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming on to my channel. This is Sarah at carnivore.yogi. Today, I have a really special guest that I'm excited about as somebody who was put into Weight Watchers at the age of 9. And so I have a long history with Weight Watchers. She is a Weight Watchers coach, counselor turned keto coach. So if you wouldn't mind, introduce all my viewers to yourself, your name, your all the good stuff. Let everyone know who you are.
Well, my name is Socorro. My last name is Elanese, and I go by Coach Coco. And I've been Coach Coco since I was with Weight Watchers. And my journey with Weight Watchers essentially started, I believe, in 2001. As a coach, I was able to go back and look at my history. And it was something I did since then till I finally made lifetime, which is always our goal as Weight Watchers members. And that was an elusive goal for me because throughout the years that I participated in Weight Watchers, that last quarter pound, that last half a pound, that last 0.5 ounces, I would just quit. Figured I was close enough and I would go off and do my own thing. Always coming back because I have to say I did lose weight with Weight Watchers. I did. And I didn't have an enormous amount of weight to lose. It was always 20, 25 pounds, sometimes 10. Sometimes I would go back really quick after I gained all the weight back. So what happened was in 2000 and I believe it was 2017, I finally made my goal. Actually, early 17, I finally made goal. And what the interesting thing with Weight Watchers is that as an insider, which I was, you start to see all the machinations and all the adjustments that folks make on their own weight journey. So I established my weight at 135. Couldn't make it. Couldn't do it. So my coach told me, well, you're within, if you do it at 146, you're going to make it. I go, no, I'm at 146 right now. I need to lose more weight. So I adjusted it to 139. Well, within a week, I made my goal. And then you have to maintain that for 6 weeks before you make lifetime. What's the big deal about lifetime? You know that, right?
So. Oh yeah. People that don't know, I've lost 100 pounds 3 times. The last time was about 11 years ago, and I did do Weight Watchers. So after I had my daughter, I took her right to Weight Watchers immediately once they gave me the go-ahead to start. And that's how I lost the last time I had to lose the 100 pounds was Weight Watchers. But keeping it off and being in maintenance is a different story because I have not been able to maintain my weight through Weight Watchers over the last 10 years. It's been a complete cycle, which is why I was like, let me bring her on. Let's talk about this maintenance thing because everyone's like, push to goal, get to goal. But then what do you do when you get there?
Yeah.
That's the nitty gritty. What do you do when you hit your goal? Yeah.
That's a big challenge. And I have to say that once you make goal, you still have to maintain for 6 weeks until you are given what used to be a key, but it's a lifetime membership. And we all strive for that because at that point, you don't have to pay as long as you stay within those 2 pounds. If you stay 2 pounds within your goal, that month you do not have to pay. And, at 45, 49, whatever the fee is now, it's significant for someone that is doing this program. I mean, it's a good goal to strive for. Finally made it. And my thought process was, if I can make my goal, the only way I personally am going to maintain it is if I go work for Weight Watchers, because the accountability is going to be there 24/7. That was my thought process. So I applied, and sure enough, I was picked up. I was hoping actually to revive some courses in Spanish, some meetings in Spanish. I live in the South Bay down in San Diego. And at some point there had been meetings in Spanish. So that was my initial goal. It's like, if I can bring this to the community and really be motivating and help people get on this journey well, it didn't happen. But I did get picked up. And when you initially start with Weight Watchers, they hire from within. You have to have gone through the program to be hired. That's typically how it's gone. So I was hired as a person that weighed in. So I greeted everyone, weigh them in. And, you know, we had little scripts we had to say, little questions, little sayings, whatever, to keep the folks motivated to come back. Well, I'm a health educator by training. So I knew that I wanted to be a coach. I didn't want to just be in the background, but I really wanted to lead the group. I enjoy facilitating groups. I've done it for, how old am I? I'm 62. I've done it since I was 22. So 40 years that I've been facilitating at some level or another. And I went to training. And the interesting thing, Sarah, and you probably remember this from coming back to the meetings, when they would greet you back, oh, we have someone who came back. And the question leaders 9 times out of 10 will pose is, why did you come back? And everyone joins in and says, because it works. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. It's been so long ago.
Well, that is like everybody chimes in. And because you've heard this time and time again, you know, without being cued in, when someone returns and you ask them, why did you come back? The answer is because it works. Well, I went to training. I was in Chicago, and these trainers are absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, that's great.
That is part of the training, is you ask folks that come back, and part of you as a coach is to ask that question, why did you come back? And everybody chimes in. Well, when everybody chimed in because it works, I sat there and I'm like, well, wait a minute. If it works, why is everybody coming back?
Exactly. Why is it a revolving door?
Exactly. So then I said it, and I kind of like was, oh, you big mouth, here you are. You know, they're going to kick you out. Well, we get dismissed for lunch, and one of the instructors pulls me aside and said, kind of like, that was kind of rude. And I was like, well, in thinking about it, why do we come back if it works? I don't understand. And help me understand that. Well, there's only so long that you can keep this program up. And eventually, everybody does gain weight. It doesn't matter what program you do. But it does matter what program you do. It really does. And so I came back, got assigned my group. You kind of have to earn your assignments on Weight Watchers. People, as the attrition happens, and you get assigned to do a meeting. And my meetings were pretty well attended. I have to say that. But they changed the program. I think that year in 2017, they started what they call freestyle, which was disastrous, not only for me, but for most of my members, because at that point, fruit became 0 points.
0 points, yeah.
Yeah. Bananas used to be 2 points.
Yeah,
I remember. I would have maybe one banana.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it was 0 points. So guess what I did? 0 fat yogurt with all the fruit. I'm talking watermelon, pineapple, bananas, cantaloupe, strawberries. And I would come home between classes, or I would take my little lunch with me, and it was yogurt and fruit all the time. I mean, I ate that twice a day. So can you imagine what happened to my blood sugars?
I can't. And this is the problem with people that are wanting to lose weight, that are seeking out the help of Weight Watchers. They're looking for loopholes, and this whole 0 point thing is a loophole. It's like,
it's a huge,
what can I do to stay at 0 but still get full, and they're spiking their blood sugar, and you were probably starving.
I was.
Yeah.
I was starving. And then what would happen was we have to weigh in once a month as leaders. We have to weigh in. Well, back then we were leaders, and then we were coaches. So I would weigh in. Well, my weight started creeping up. And then my receptionist, the lady, my guide, who did the weigh-in, she would say, well, you can adjust it. At 146, you're still within your range. So I go, well, then put me up to 146, because at this point, I'm like stepping on those heels right now. And so it really just was this adjustment, this playing with your weight number so I wouldn't get called in. Interesting thing, Sarah, was that I would look at a lot of my coworkers and they were way beyond their range. I knew it. And nobody was being called on the carpet for it. And I'm like, wow, this is not a good image. But what happened was I noticed that they had taken down, all the leaders used to have their before and after pictures. So those all came down. And these came down based on the direction of a new CEO who was really good friends with Oprah. And I promise you, what happened was it was about wellness. It wasn't about weight loss. So they were not very adamant with us as leaders, but it kind of gave everybody permission to, like, all I have to do is weigh in. Doesn't matter what my weight is. It mattered to me. But what happened was I ended up going and had some blood draws for a physical. And the doctor, I interviewed him. It was my first time talking to this physician. And I said, you know, I need a partner. I've had lupus for, at that point, 20 plus years.
Wow.
And I said, I don't want a dictator. Honestly, I've talked to so many doctors and I go, I need a partner. And before you prescribe anything, we need to have a discussion. Well, I got my blood work done. Next thing I know, I get a text on my phone that I have meds at the pharmacy. I was a little bit perturbed, but we were close by and I told my husband, you know what, let's see what it is. Well, it was metformin and it was Lipitor. It's statin.
Wow.
And I told the pharmacist, I don't want it. So I got immediately in my portal and I sent an email to my doctor and I said, I thought we were going to have a discussion. This isn't a discussion and I'm not taking these meds. So interesting. I had seen a lady who's been a friend of mine, a social media friend, post a before and after picture. And this was done back in June. And I'm talking now, it's August. So I reached out to her and I said, what did you do? And she had put something about ketogenic on her post, but I remember just kind of skimming through it. But I remember that she said something about her A1C and her LDLs.
And those are the two things that for you were elevated because of basically doing a high sugar, high carb, low fat.
Yeah, absolutely. It was totally high sugar, high fat, high fructose. I lived on fruit.
Yeah.
So I told her, I go, I'm considering doing this. I have no idea. And I had done Atkins when I was in high school once before, you know, but I really didn't know what the keto diet was. I remember years past, I had tried the bulletproof coffee because it sounded fascinating and I hated it. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this. I may have tried keto at one point and 2 days into it, I quit because I didn't like the symptoms. Well, this time I had a reason. At this time in my journey, I had been off all medication for lupus. I had been totally off. I went off in 2012, I believe, was the final time I went to a pain management clinic and I talked to the doctor and I said, I really want to get off these medications. So he asked me to bring them in. Sarah, I was taking 14 medications.
Oh my God.
I didn't know. I had some in the kitchen, some in the bathroom, some in my bedroom. And when I would come home from the doctor, my husband's look of disappointment was just, it was heartbreaking, Sarah. But I took him all my medications and he was just astonished. He goes, you have a team. You have, because you end up with all these other different ancillary diseases based on the lupus, that I had a specialist for this, a specialist for my blood, a nephrologist, my rheumatologist, my internist. Well, everybody's prescribing meds. By this time I have 14. And he told me, I will help you get off. I want you to read this book, Forks Over Knives.
Yeah.
I read it and I watched the video and I committed to a life. I committed to do veganism and I wasn't vegetarian. My daughters were vegetarian. I was going to go full on vegan.
Oh, wow.
And I did.
Just took a twist.
Yeah, I did for 22 months.
Wow.
For 22 months. And I lost an enormous amount of weight. but I was frail.
So you lost a lot of muscle, you think, too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was very frail. I was sickly as can be, but I was off my medications, and that was my goal. I had already been told I had kidney damage and I had liver damage. So I knew that I was reaching the end point of lupus. People normally die about 20 years into the disease.
Wow.
But now I'm convinced they die because of the meds, not so much because of the disease, because I've been med free since 2012.
Wow.
But I was miserable. I was in a lot of pain. How I managed to do my Weight Watcher classes was pretty astonishing, because I would have to pull myself up by the bootstraps to be able to go up, do the class. And then I was useless for the rest of the day. I would come home and it would be like, I just need to be in bed.
Yeah.
So when I reached out to my friend, going back to why I started this whole keto adventure, I said, I need to hear from medical doctors that prescribe to this way of eating, because I love my chiropractor, but I wanted to hear from somebody other than the chiropractors that are continually on Facebook. So she referred me to a female physician and a male, big presence both on YouTube. And so I started watching. And within a month, about 6 weeks into my research, and of course, you know how those lead you to other doctors, lead you to more doctors.
Yes, you go down the rabbit hole.
Down that rabbit hole.
Yep.
And I told my husband, I'm going to do this. And he's like, all right, I'm not doing it. You just have to feed me, but I'm not doing it. And I'm like, okay. So I started keto. Sarah, within a month, within 30 days, I was done with insomnia.
Wow.
Done with pain that I lived with every single day, because I was told you just have to learn to live with it if you're not going to take the meds. I was done with being, I guess I was somewhat depressed, but I never wanted that label. Yeah. But I used to be very snippy. I was snippy at my husband if he didn't fold the towels right. Towels. Snippy over towels.
Oh, I get it though. I mean, years of dieting. I mean, I haven't had chronic illness the way that you've had, but just the blood sugar dysregulation, it makes you mean.
I was mean. I was mean. I would snap at my poor grandchildren, and I love them dearly, but boy, I look back and I look back at the little things that would just absolutely throw me off. Just the edge for, come on, folding towels, seriously? Yeah. But that was my life. And within 30 days, I have to tell you, my outlook was different. My pain level was under control. I could sleep. I was averaging broken sleep, maybe 4 hours a night, maybe 4, sometimes if I could sleep 6 hours, but it was always broken. I can tell you, I sleep 8 to 9 hours every night.
Wow.
I get up to go pee once. That's it. I go back to sleep immediately.
Wow.
That was unheard of for 20 some odd years. So this has been a miraculous way of eating for me. And of course, my friend told me, oh, and I intermittent fast. IF. Well, I had no idea what IF was. I ain't doing that. I'm not going to do that. Are you crazy? I lived for my 6 meals a day, you know?
Yeah.
As a Weight Watcher, you have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you have to have your snacks because there's no way you'll survive. Well, of course, you're not going to survive on zero fat.
Right.
You don't.
No.
So I thought that's crazy. So I started in September 2017, and I by January I was like, I'm not hungry. Oh my gosh. So I reached out to her. I go, girl, I'm not hungry. She goes, I told you were going to start intermittent fasting. Didn't know that's what I was doing. And to think that from then to now, I'm typically a 1 meal a day person, Monday through Fridays.
Wow.
And I am probably 95% carnivore at this point, which never did I ever think I'd give up on my salads and my spinach and my tomatoes. And the only thing I have a difficulty giving up on is my coffee. And one day I will, because I'm that disciplined, but just not yet.
Yeah, I get it. It's I definitely have an emotional attachment to coffee as well. It's
Yeah.
I'm slowly weaning off of it right now myself, but it's been, yeah, I don't think people should rush to get off the coffee as much as they should rush to get off of the carbohydrates and the sugars and those things that are really spiking their blood sugar. And, you know, maybe down the road, if you're feeling called to come off the coffee for various reasons, then go for it. But the major problem here is the high carb, high sugar lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're having such amazing quality of life now on this new way of living, then I mean, I think that's tremendous. And if you want to give it up, cool, but just the improvements that you're having is absolutely remarkable.
I have had people that, I mean, you know, I've done the posting, the side by sides and the before and afters. And of course, that's called attention. And before I knew it, I was coaching people online. People were reaching out, and I was of the thought, you know what, someone gave me the information.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it back. And cool things that have happened. My son-in-law was going to be put on a statin, had open heart surgery at the age of 25, lost 45 pounds. I referred him to a cardiologist who's a low carb cardiologist here in San Diego. He also has a big presence. He's now the chief doctor with Diet Doctor. But before he gave up his practice here, my son-in-law was able to see him. And my son-in-law asked him this question: I'm not going to go on statins. My weight is down. My blood levels are all normal. He goes, can I go off this diet? And the cardiologist says, why would you do that? This is sustainable. This is something that you need to do if you want to stay off your statin drugs.
Yeah.
Because this is sustainable. My brother-in-law is 85 years old. 85 when he asked me, why are you eating this way? And I said, oh, I feel great. Do you see a difference? He goes, yes, I do. I see a big difference. He said, well, it helped me with this. And he had Parkinson's. He had been diagnosed with Parkinson's a year before. So I said, I don't know. Let's give it a shot. So I coached him. He was here on vacation. They went back. They live up in north of Los Angeles. He and my sister went back home, and I was coaching my sister how to prepare meals for him. I went to see him in September because he told me that his tremor was done. It was gone. I didn't believe it. They took him off metformin. They took him off. He was on some Lexapro, I think, for sleeping because he had insomnia. He was on some bogus medication for Parkinson's because I don't think there is a med for Parkinson's, but they gave him something for the anxiety it was causing him. And the doctor said, Mr. Contreras, you're 85 years old. I should be prescribing more meds to you, but I'm going to prescribe less.
Wow.
And he deprescribed everything he was on. And in December, he took the final metformin off of his prescription. And he lost like 25 pounds, has been off medication. He is now 86 years old.
Wow.
And he says, I will never, ever eat another way. What he didn't tell me was that he was diabetic. I would have taken a different approach, but he had been diabetic for 15 years. And he was monitored, so they started reducing the metformin. Finally, they just eliminated it. He asked the doctor, do you want to know what I am doing? He goes, no. He goes, well, then, doctor, you're doing everything backwards. I would think you would want to help your patients with what I'm doing.
Yes, please.
So, but he didn't. He's like, you know, and I understand the standard of care. I understand all of that. But boy, I'll tell you, that was eye-opening.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the one thing that you just said that really stuck out to me is that, and I hear this all the time, what you're doing is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Well, somebody that was on Weight Watchers on that side of the fence, and that this, you know, high carb, high sugar, eat fruits and a balanced diet, like you do in Weight Watchers, a quote unquote balanced diet, you as a coach, like we just talked about, would see this revolving door. And why are we looking at that as sustainable, and we're looking at keto and carnivore as dangerous and not sustainable, and you know, you're not going to enjoy life or you enjoy your food, and it's just such a paradigm shift. And you're seeing these things with your lupus and, you know, the Parkinson's, and we're not hearing. That's why I'm trying to do this channel and interview people such as yourself, because we're not hearing these stories. We're not hearing it.
Yeah. And these are, I mean, I talk to him probably 2 to 3 times a week. He's 86 years old. You know, he's going to the gym.
Wow.
He takes me, listen to this. When we went to visit, because I wanted to get him on video and I wanted to see if the shaking was gone. I needed to verify this. He takes me to his bedroom and he says, I want you to see my bedroom. He goes, I painted, got new floors, got a new bed. And then he taps his bed. He goes, I want to tell you, he goes, from the tip of my head to the bottom of my feet, everything works. And I want to introduce you to my love nest. My sister was behind. My sister was like, just a gasp. She was like so mortified that he said that. We died laughing.
Oh,
but he goes,
gosh.
Everything works.
That's tremendous.
That was a bonus for an 86-year-old man to be totally, and he said, and our relationship has just taken a different level because I'm not upset. I'm not depressed. She's not mad because I'm sneaking in food. He goes, I don't do that anymore. And their whole, I mean, they wear the same colors to go to church. They hold hands and they do selfies and post them and send them to me. I mean, they are just adorable. I will tell you, they are absolutely adorable and so happy. So, you know, all the other benefits that come from this way of eating, it's just tremendous. And I agree with my brother-in-law. If he can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
86 years old.
I love it.
Never tracked macros, never, ever put anything in an app. I just told him, just avoid this and eat this. And that's all he does. Lost 25 pounds and reversed a lot of the conditions that he thought he was going to die from.
I love that. And it's, you know, as a coach, something I want to ask you with your clients, do you see people just overcomplicating this? And how do you coach them through that? Because I see that a lot, overthinking, overcomplicating. Yeah. How do you help those people that are stuck in that mindset?
I always just bring them back. No sugar, no grains. I mean, Vinny Tortorich just did this hashtag, you know, and I just bring them back to the basic. No sugar, no grains. If you can maintain that. And then my brother-in-law told me this. He goes, honey, don't tell them what they can't eat. Tell them what they can't eat. And then their world just opens up to these possibilities. When you make your ribeye, how can you prepare it to make it delicious? When you have your avocado, can you make guacamole? If you do like the creams and the sour cream and you know, I always have a Mexican twist to everything I make. So everything I make always has poblano chile or serranos or jalapenos or something that does it a la mexicana because that's just the way we eat. When I was doing the cauliflower rice, which I rarely do now, but making it Mexican style, you know, and just really focusing on the simplicity of this because it can get overcomplicated. And I've seen that, but I'll tell you, when you focus them on what they can have versus what they can't, and that's a paradigm shift that happens.
Absolutely.
It really, sometimes it'll take more involvement on my part, like a weekly text, not a weekly text. I normally do weekly texts and phone calls, but it'll take a daily text. Okay, what did you do today to help you get to your goal? And something that simple, whether they respond or not, when I do that weekly call, they're like, you know, that really helped me just kind of shift my head. I didn't have time to respond, but it really did help me just refocus. And it's just that because I'm coaching like my daughter. She's 30 years old. She was a pescatarian for 15 years. She had a polycystic ovarian.
Yeah, PCOS, yeah.
It burst. She almost died.
Oh my gosh.
She had a tumor the size of a grapefruit. She had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Last year in January, she almost died. They found her. Alexa saved her life, I have to say. They found her passed out in her. She had internal bleeding beyond 3.5 liters of blood that she lost.
Oh my gosh.
She came here to my home to recover. And I told her, I go, honey, I go, all those junk fake meats you're putting in your system. And so she watched The Magic Pill with me. And there was a vegan on that show that they interviewed her. And I think that resonated so much with my daughter that she goes, Mom, a year ago, who would have thought that I'd be almost 90% carnivore?
Wow.
But, you know, she would overcomplicate things. She lives alone, you know, she works a lot. And I said, honey, just keep it simple. A protein and a veggie, keep it simple. She goes, Mom, the veggie's too much thinking. I'm just keeping it with the protein. And she goes, a year ago, I was struggling to just put a piece of beef in my mouth. And now I can make my ribeye steak on my cast iron grill and enjoy it with a pat of butter.
I love it.
It's possible.
I love it. And that's one of the things that's been so healing to me also, is just this permission to eat red meat. I don't think people understand until they begin to do it again, you know, because in Weight Watchers, it's like the chicken and the fish, and stick to the lean meats. And if you're going to have red meat, definitely don't have the ribeye. Definitely stay away from that. Don't put butter on it, you know, but just how much better you feel getting that nutrient dense food back into your body. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable.
It is.
Yeah.
It is remarkable.
Yeah.
I happened last year, I asked my husband if I can go to the Low Carb USA Conference. It was here in San Diego in my backyard. And my husband has just been, you know, we're empty nesters, but he has just been the most supportive person who said he wasn't going to do this. In June of last year, he started. Well, he's lost 50 pounds and looks absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Looks amazing. I went to the Low Carb Conference. I just made myself meet everybody that I could. Everybody that's anybody in this sphere, in this community. Dr. Ken Berry was there. Dr. Robert Sivas was there. Gary Taubes was there. And the thing about this conference is that they're so approachable. They know they're rock stars, but man, they'll sit down and have a cup of coffee with you. Oh. Gary Taubes comes, I walked by and I saw him and I just like, you know, I was like starstruck and I wanted pictures. And he looked at me and he goes, come here, have a seat. I want to hear your story.
Oh, how cool.
You know, so my husband supported me in this, and I talked to Dr. Robert Sivas about this carnivore, and I talked to Ken Berry about it, Dr. Ken Berry, and I said, you know, Dr. Robert Sivas said this to me. He says, look, you're not going to undo 20 plus years of lupus in 6 months, in 1 year. He goes, you're not. He said, this should be your lifelong way of eating. And he told me this, he goes, and I would really start leaning towards more carnivore. I have damage in my elbows and I had elbow surgery, but I wouldn't do the other one, but supposedly the lupus has eaten away at the protection on the nerves. So he said, that's not going to repair in 6 months, in 18 months. That's years that's going to take to repair, and you're going to quicken the repair by focusing on your carnivore. Wow. I was like, wow, okay. So start looking for all the meat sales and start packing my freezer. And basically that's what I do. And I have a ribeye waiting for me when we're done.
That's one, I love it. And what kind of benefits have you seen since kind of transitioning more towards a carnivore-based diet from keto? Have you seen a big difference or no?
I have seen hair growth because I was starting to lose hair. Of course, it's coming out all silver, and that's fine. I don't care as long as I don't go bald. I'm fine with silver hair. I've noticed the pain in my elbows when I'm really stressed, or when I've had, I don't call them cheat meals, I hate that term, but when I've tasted something, or let's say that I decide I want to do like a dirty keto. It's still keto, but it's dirty because it's at a taco shop. I will notice, because I just don't react well anymore. I don't react well to, I'm sure it's the seed oils, because I'm sure they don't use the organic, you know, coconut oil or the organic olive oil that you and I use. It's junk oil, and I will notice. So as long as I stay on my protocol, girl, I can walk 3.5 miles. I could not walk because of the neuropathy that I had for years.
Wow.
No neuropathy. And I think about it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I used to be like this. I used to be like in bed. As soon as I got home, I just wanted to be in bed. I'm up at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, and I go till about 7 or 8. You know, I go to bed with the chickens, but I'm up super early, and my energy is sustainable.
Wow.
It never was. I could not survive a day with at least two naps.
Wow. That's
so
amazing.
Yeah, it's been a huge difference for me.
Wow, that's amazing. And it feels like something you can just continue. It doesn't feel like deprivation.
No deprivation whatsoever. If we go out to have something to eat, a lot of times it is Mexican, and I'm like, no rice, no beans. And I just don't want the temptation. And now I'm okay with, if I forget to ask for no rice or no beans, I'll just ask for another plate and I just scrape it off. I don't even want to see it. I don't, but I have 3 foreign exchange students from Denmark. So I have to provide meals that they're used to, and they see the way I eat. But I have bread, pasta, rice, beans. They're in my pantry. As soon as they're gone, 21st of March, all that stuff gets donated to a shelter. My sister-in-law runs a women's home. It all gets donated but I do not have temptation.
Right. So it can just be in your house and you don't feel like you're going to lose your mind and go eat it all.
And that I owe to the training I had as a Weight Watchers member, that I just was took years, but I was no longer triggered by foods where, oh my gosh, I see ice cream, I have to have it. Or I see glazed donuts. My husband came home with donuts for the boys, and I just opened the box and I said, get rid of all of these glazed. You guys eat those first, because that may be an issue. But it really wasn't. I think I said it more as a joke. I am perfectly satisfied with my meals, that I can have cookies, chocolate, anything in my pantry, and it's for the boys. And my husband and I just like, it doesn't have that effect that it had before.
It's amazing. And, I experience a lot of the same. It's just like, I know how those foods are going to make me feel. And so I just would rather not bother. We had our anniversary, my husband and I, last Saturday, and we went to a really nice fancy restaurant, and I didn't know it, but one of my students is a manager there. And so of course she comes over and, oh, it's your anniversary. So of course she sends the dessert. And my husband was like, aren't you going to have any? And I just didn't want it. It was this beautiful baked Alaska, beautiful presentation. And it just wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't really care if she was offended, and I don't think that she was. I don't even, honestly, don't even know if she noticed. That's the thing. We think everyone's watching, and we're going to hurt someone's feelings, and we have to get rid of those types of behaviors around food as well, because at the end of the day, you have to live in your body, and you have to deal with the side effects of putting those things in your body that, may or may not give you a reaction that just doesn't feel so good,
Yeah, it's now something that I'm really aware of. We went out to a Mexican restaurant, and I wasn't that hungry, so I ordered the garlic shrimp. And I didn't have the rice, I didn't have the beans, I didn't ask them not to put them in my plate. But I had the garlic shrimp, and I cut it all up. I was not out of that restaurant when I started with a headache back here. By the time we got home, it was pushing up against my eye. My husband was like, was the food good? I go, yeah, it was good. But that was not butter. That was not, it was garlic buttered shrimp. I go, that was not butter. And I called the restaurant and I said, what do you use on your shrimp? Oh, margarina. Like, margarina is margarine. And your menu says it's butter shrimp. Oh, well, that's butter. Margarina, that's butter. I'm just like,
no.
Yeah, so I came home, drank a lot of water, woke up the next morning. I still had the headache, and by midday it was gone. But I'm not kidding you. The reaction was like, never again. I will not.
Yeah.
I will, if I want garlic shrimp, I'm making it at home with real butter.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I would rather just have a meal cooked at home than go out and risk whatever they're doing at the restaurant, you know, because they can have, like you just said, they had butter on the menu and they were using margarine. And it's like,
and to them, it's not a deception.
That is, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's in their mind, it's the same thing. And as I progress in this lifestyle and this way of eating, because it's not a diet, I do not ever consider this a diet.
Yeah.
I notice that I am quicker to respond negatively to something that I have that's out of my protocol. My body just, I mean, that was an immediate reaction, Sarah. Normally by the next day, I'll wake up with a little headache or swelling in my fingers and but that one was almost immediate. And so I know that as I go on eating healthy, for me, carnivore may not be for everyone, and I get it, but unless you try it, don't say that.
Exactly.
It just, I thought, carnivore, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
But when I got Dr. Sivas his blessing and, you know, give it a shot, even if you're just carnivore-ish. And that's how I started. I was carnivore-ish. I still consider myself carnivore-ish because I won't, you know, the coffee issue still, it's not an issue, but I won't give that up. But it just, the reaction to junk in my system is no longer tolerable. And at 62 years old, I was talking to Dr. I don't know if you know Dr. Brian Lenski's with Low Carb MD. He has
yes.
Low Carb MD. Good plug-in for that. I mean, that is such a phenomenal
great podcast. I love it. Yeah, that's where I first heard Dr. Sivas, who was on my show not so long ago, who I adore. I absolutely adore him. Yeah.
He's just, I just absolutely love him too. Yeah. But I was talking to Dr. Brian, and he was just talking about, you know, well, some people will go full carnivore, some will not, and how do you deal with that? And I said, it's an option. Again, just like you said, eliminate the sugars, eliminate the grains, eliminate all that fruit that is healthy. And you're going to have a much better outlook on your life. And that outlook is a big difference. Because that's all up here. And if you don't know that this impacts what's going on up here. And I don't think, I told Dr. Brian, I said, I don't know that my life is going to be extended. I have the philosophy as a Christian that I didn't ask when I was going to be born. God is not asking me for permission as to when he's going to take me. But the important thing in all of that is the quality of life that you have between that, you know, that dash, that quality of life. And the least, at this point, Sarah, I would be on dialysis. I was already projected kidney damage, liver damage. My doctor told me, in 5 years, you're going to see yourself on dialysis. I'm letting you know. I'm like, what kind of outlook does that give me to be told that in 5 years, my likelihood of being on dialysis, every person that I know that has lupus, and I belong to a lot of support groups that were so depressing, I had to extract myself out of there. They're on dialysis now. I had my kidney function tested. I had my liver function tested. Perfect.
Really?
Perfect. And I attribute that more to being off the meds, because I've only been on keto carnivore 17 months, and I don't know that the repair could happen that quick, but it may have. But being off the meds, and if anybody would have told me, you are going to be off of Plaquenil and you're going to be off of all of these antidepressants, sleeping aids, pain medications, and I was off of them, but I was miserable and always tempted to go back because I was in pain. But to live a life almost pain-free, almost. I'm 62. There's always little aches and pains there, here and there, but I would have never thought it. Never.
Well, your energy is just so vibrant and beautiful and uplifting and positive. And I don't think that you can exude those types of things if you don't feel good. I mean, you just can't. You really can't, you know? So that's a huge testament to the healing that you've experienced in eating this way. And I know it probably helps you as well to be able to coach others and to see
yeah.
the transformation and the lessening of pain. Tell me a little bit about that, just, you know, coaching people keto and just watching them change. What's one of the favorite things that you've seen happen?
I always emphasize how you're going to feel versus the weight loss.
Yes.
And I coached a woman on, we became friends through Facebook, through another group, but then she saw my posting. And so I started coaching her. And she's little, she's tiny. She's like 5'2", but she weighed like 160 pounds. And I told her, I go, look, I said, I will help you, but focus on how you feel, not on the weight loss. Well, within 6 months, she had lost 25 pounds.
Wow.
And that weight loss just started triggering all these other benefits in her that she says, you know, I didn't want to focus on my weight loss, but I did lose 25 pounds. So next thing you know, she lives in Los Angeles. I'm here in San Diego. She goes, Coco, she goes, I have a group of about 45 family members that I'm coaching on WhatsApp. I'm like, what? She goes, I'm doing a WhatsApp group. And my cousins, they've all seen the transformation. She goes, people from my church. She goes, and she's doing it in Spanish. And she says, I do not want to sound sacrilegious, but this is a miraculous way to eat. I had another lady that wanted to get pregnant, and she already had 2 kids, and she wanted to try for her third. She was also small. You know, I'm 5'4". She's about my size and weighed about 150, 60 pounds. Same thing. She goes, I want to get pregnant and I can't. I've tried. I've been trying. My baby's now 4 years old. I've been trying. And went down to 115 pounds from almost 160. Wow. And now she goes, now I'm pregnant. So I'm going to gain all this weight. I go,
you don't have to.
Magic pill. You know how you can sustain this way of eating. I said, I would talk to your doctor and your, you know, obstetrician. See, I go, you're probably going to get a lot of resistance. I said, but within reason, whatever you do, however your format of eating changes, and whatever protocol you establish while you're pregnant, I said, you know how to do this once the baby is born. And you have the power in your hands now. Yeah. And she's like, you know what? That really helped. But that's why I want her to do this. I want her to get pregnant. And she did. And so to me, it's like, thank you, Jesus, because this is working for so many people in so many areas, in so many stages in their lives. Yeah. I have obviously a love for women in my age group. I just do, because we're all being confronted with a lot of health issues. And most of the people that I'm coaching are retired, overweight, and you buy into all of these diagnoses. Where I talk to someone, oh, I have thyroid, oh, I have this. And it's almost like she took pleasure in sharing all of the diseases that she was diagnosed with and owning them.
They personalizing it, saying, I am, you know,
I am diabetic.
Taking ownership. Yeah.
And it really has a powerful impact when you ship that. You do not own that. Right. And you don't have to be that. Yeah. You are Gloria. You are not diabetes. You are Gloria. That is your name. Own who you were born to be, and then let's start figuring this other stuff out. And it's going to happen with what you put in your mouth. I can't exercise. I need knee replacement surgery. I get it. Yeah. I get it. But you may not need that knee replacement surgery. You may not. Who knows? You may, but you'll be better off if you lose some weight. Yeah. You'll recuperate faster. Yeah. Even if you do have the knee replacement surgery. Yeah. So yeah, I just get a thrill. I do. And I have more successes than folks that will say, oh, this doesn't work. Yeah. If this doesn't work, then, you know, okay, that's fine. But I really thrive on those that are succeeding. And I have to say that most of them do. If they really apply what I prescribe, and well, it's not a prescription, I'm not a doctor, but if I give them a protocol and I give them it's a white option, it happens. And sometimes I said, I have a kick butt program where, no excuses. If that's what you want, I can give you that. And I am that person. I'll be very joyful and very happy but when it comes to sticking your nose to the task, I'm there. And I have one that I'm coaching right now, and that's what she requires. She requires that. She goes, I need you to kick me in the butt, because on the weekends I kind of go off the rails and then I need to come back. She goes, but I'm starting to feel like it's not worth it. And I go, okay, something's happening. Something's happening. Not worth her going off the rails. Not worth the program. The program she absolutely loves.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what you want people to get, is to that point where they say, I really, the reward of eating this food is just not worth how I have to feel for days on end after that, and that's, you can't, the hard thing is you can't give that to someone. You can't make them feel that. They kind of have to get there, because I had to get there, and we all get to that place where, the pain is just not worth it. And so, I'm sure that's something that you have to work through with a lot of people when you coach them, for sure.
Yeah. But it's fun. And it's always when you deal with the most challenging that you have as a coach, your most growth.
Yes.
You get to that point where like, oh, okay, I dealt with that one successfully. I wasn't so sure, but it worked out. And then you just kind of like, okay, tack that one in your hat, so that when you come across that, because you're always going to come across those challenges, but that's where you get the most growth, I feel.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Well, this has been so amazing. And I know I'm going to have so many people asking how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, and possibly even work with you, get coaching from you. So tell people where they can find you. And I will link all of this stuff below the interview. So it'll be in the information section as well.
Okay. Well, on Instagram is probably the fastest and quickest way. It's Weight Watcher Gone Keto. Again, Weight Watcher, spell it out, Gone Keto. That's probably going to be the quickest way. And I respond to messages almost, at least within that day, I will respond to messages. But I'm typically pretty spot on with that, unless I'm on a coaching call. But within a couple of hours, you'll get a response. Yeah, that'll be the quickest way.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll make sure to link that below the video. But
awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Has been so amazing.
Thank you. You are amazing. And I go to her YouTube channel. It's the best.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right.